All right, so I think we can start. I'll just take all that stuff here. And Jim, just before we start, I just want to give a little bit of information. And I think the class a little bit knows about you for two reasons. One of them is I kind of mentioned, but as you can imagine, I don't know a lot about you. I kind of mentioned who you do and what is your job. But also they did a little bit search based on your LinkedIn.
Interesting.
So I gave them your LinkedIn account, I gave them your website information. And what we expect here is, I think this the majority of the students, they have a good hotel, restaurant, hospital mindset. They do have it. However, my goal is actually to give them people from the real industry and really introduce you, who you are. That's mostly they are interested in, I believe. If you guys are interested in something else, please ask questions. I will tell you mainly, I think what they want to hear, but you're free to talk. They mostly like to know who you are. They mostly like to know what's your company and what do you do in a daily basis. It's great to hear news, tips, tricks, or any information about hospitality tourism or what we do is really great. But also, I'm guessing and hoping that they might be interested in opportunity in your company. This can be short term, long term, but some information. So we do have like 2 hours. We don't have to stay here 2 hours. But I'm saying that don't be stressed all the time. Well, don't be stressed all the time. Typically, the guest speakers like to talk about 30 minutes, maybe 15 minutes for the questions and answers. But it's up to you. So we've got
Play, but you're
right. So I'm gonna leave it to you. And please go ahead. I'll be watching here, and I might ask questions too because I'm curious.
awesome. First question, do you have, is there a marker for the board?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, that's cool. And I have several boards like right on the wall.
Right.
So just be over there.
Hopefully, I don't know what it is, but I think Google for you. So you can use the markers, right? You can use any of them.
Already.
You can go sit down. I'll go back.
Okay, no problem.
First question. Who believes in free money? You heard me right. What's your name? Okay. Do you believe in free money? Absolutely free money. What's your name?
Lily.
Lily, do you believe in free money? And I see by a show of hands, who believes in free money? Nobody. Yours first, $2 bill.
I'll give you $3 for your $2.
You don't have to, I'm not taking that back, that's yours.
What?
Just because you're nice, you get to keep them. So who believes in free money? Does anyone believe in free money? What's your name?
Connor.
Colin?
Connor.
Connor. Am I beginning to change anyone's minds? Or no? Who believes in free money now? You do. You do. What's your name?
Tim.
Tim. Because I heard you, I saw you snicker a little bit.
Thank you.
Hey, you don't have to tell me what are you gonna spend it on.
Okay.
Who believes in free money now? I saw one hand up. 2, that's because you know. What's your name? Emil? For believing in free money. And it's a $2 bill. How many $2 bills do you have? You have one, is that it? Okay, there you go. Why do I do that? So at least I noticed a little bit, I think I got your attention a little bit. But most importantly, that feeling that or the sensation that I saw in some of your faces was a sense of surprise, curiosity, and a little bit of fear of missing out, because you didn't know how many $2 bills I had. So basically, and I'm an event organizer and I've been doing it a fair amount of years. The essence of event organizing is the feeling that I just tried to create. So in terms of adjective, what adjectives come to mind based on the feeling that you experienced or that you saw in the person that I gave the $2 bill? Here are some adjectives of emotions that you might have experienced. Lily, what emotion were you feeling? You tell me when I came on over and I gave you the $2 bill. This is not a test, but just fire away. Come on, some feelings. Yeah. Professor John, how about one that works?
Both of them are not working?
Is there another one? It's in my pocket. Let's.
All right.
Sorry.
So, you believe in a free market?
I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Kate? What adjective, what were you feeling? What emotion were you feeling when I came on over and I gave you a $2 bill? I'm happy. Tim?
Tim is upset a little bit.
No, I don't know, I had doubt at first. Doubt ran through my mind first.
And was that before I gave you the $2 bill?
Yes.
Now that you have the $2 bill,
Well, it's different now, yes.
and what changed? What's your feeling now?
I
When
mean,
I
I,
gave you the $2
I mean,
bill,
I was
that
surprised,
moment that I came on over,
I was surprised,
that's a surprise.
yeah.
Any other emotions other than, how about fear of missing out? I think I noticed a little bit, Camille,
Yeah, I mean,
right? I a little bit of that?
yeah. and
I'll take
it's
you
exciting.
say, you didn't know how many I had left.
Yeah,
What's your name?
Tyler,
Tyler, go ahead.
disbelief.
Okay. So you still have disbelief that at least in this one setting, as we spin around in the middle of nowhere in a planet of a gazillion stars, you have a little bit more belief or still the same amount of disbelief about free money?
A little more belief.
Okay, a little bit more. Okay, but we made from disbelief to a little bit, that's an improvement. So right here, guys. Or as I say. Surprise. Curiosity. And fear of missing out. Or I'd even say a sense of belonging. Hopefully you remember me as the schmohawk who gives $2 bills out, but I don't do it all the time. I must confess, I did this about maybe 24 years ago when I was starting a company and I was looking to create an impression. And I did create a great first impression because I partnered with a guy who's in that group. And I didn't even give him the $2 bill. But really, this is what event organization is all about, is in the guests. Regardless of whether it's a conference of 20 or 200, or a trade show of as many as 16,700 that I owned and organized. It was a 5-day event. We had 400 exhibitors. It doesn't matter, the scale doesn't matter. These basic emotions that we all have, that's what event organization is all about. That's all you have to remember. And I also believe that when it comes to event management, the quality of our questions determines the quality of the event. What do I mean by that? Camille, we're buddies now. The quality of questions determines the quality of the event. What do I mean by that? If you didn't know.
Like, the more questions you ask, the more information you have, so that your event.
Good. So quantity of questions is one thing. What about quality?
Oh, yeah. What type of question are you asking?
Okay. Right there, I mean, what's your name? Help me.
Michigan,
Mishito?
Michigan, Michigan,
Mishito.
come.
Mishiko.
Yeah.
Okay, pardon. So what do I mean by the quality of questions that we ask determines the quality of the event that we produce? What might I be getting at?
Based on more specific questions, like, oh, I want a big event. What type of big event? Do you want circus, a bar, a lounge? And then you go into more details about what you want for that event.
Okay,
And that's how we make the best.
excellent, excellent. And how many read the book, the quintessential book, by Simon Sinek? What's his name? Sinek? Has anyone, I can't pronounce his name correctly, but he wrote a very, very famous book. And the name of his book is The Power of Why. So. Yes, the quality of questions determines the quality of the event, but we have to know the reason behind the question. And that's the reason behind any question really should be the why. Why is it important? So what, right? What impact does that have on the guest experience? So anyway, I use the little game, not quite a game, but introduction, kind of a unique introduction of, do you believe in free money? Capturing attention, creating a sense of curiosity, surprise, and fear of missing out, sense of belonging. This is what I've learned over 15 years of organizing events. So a little bit more about me is I've been doing this for myself and for others for over 15 years, probably closer to 20. And I organized events throughout the US, from 200 people conferences to 16,700 attendees. My partner and I, in 1999, we started the very first day trading exhibition for people who trade stocks online. We created the very first exhibition for retail traders to have a place to come and learn. That was my very first adventure into organizing events, and I was spoiled, guys. True confession. My partner and I, we sold out after 4 years. We started from scratch, didn't know anyone, didn't know anything. We did know some people. And the very first event in Ontario, California in 1999, we had 125 exhibitors, like 2,200 attendees. 4 years later, we sold this show for 2.2 million. Now, at the time, that was a lot. And one of the introductions that I made to a company that was exhibiting at the very first show, they paid maybe, I don't know, $2,500. There was a little company called Cyber Trader. And the folks from Cyber Trader on the show floor at the Ontario Convention Center met the people from Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab didn't have an online trading platform at that time. Anyone want to take a guess how many dollars, how much that fellow ended up selling his company, Cyber Trader, to Schwab for?
Not a specific guess, but I know they got Thinkorswim now, so probably a very, very, very big amount.
True. So in retrospect, I kind of wish that I had negotiated in advance with the exhibitors. I'll give you a discounted rate on your exhibition and on your sponsorship. But when you sell, because of anyone that you meet at our show, I get a little cut. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't really think that way. I didn't think that was proper, and I still don't, but I just share that story. Because in the world of exhibitions, in the world of conferences, in the world of candlelight concerts, as I'm gonna talk about in a minute, you never know who's seated in your audience. You never know who's walking the show floor. You just never know, really anything about anyone until you listen and you ask questions. And I was sharing with John also, before we came on over, and I think over the 15 years, one of the real guiding principles that I've learned is, there are people that know so much about the business, so much about technology, about event platforms, about lighting, about production, about social media. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, as an event organizer, what I've learned is that, and this is true whether I'm producing an event in Beijing or Hong Kong, or Indonesia, Kuala Lumpur, or Bangkok, Thailand, or Delhi, India, or Kalamazoo, Michigan, or Ontario, California, or Chicago, or Denver, just a few places that I've organized events. And despite the language, despite the cultural differences, I think people really respond when they meet someone like me. As I like to project, it's not how much you know. People don't care how much you know until who wants to finish the sentence. People don't care how much you know until they know how much it's a one syllable word. What's the word? There you go. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I care about this industry. I love this industry. So I told you about this one very profitable venture. I'm also going to tell you that as an event organizer, despite how excited you might be about your topic and the market research that you've done and how much money you think you're going to make, another lesson, this time it cost me my entire retirement account. And my wife, who passed recently, could never quite accept that I had blinders on. What I mean by that is I took over a show in Rosemont, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And it was an event. It was an exhibition that in its heyday had 100,000 attendees, 1,000 exhibitors over 10 days. That's a big I can't say it, but fill in the blank. That was a big show, 100,000 attendees. So by the time I picked up the show, I didn't have to pay anything for the show. I just negotiated that I would take over the lease or the contract for the exhibition center itself, or the exhibition space. So when I picked up the show in, I can't remember what year it was, I think it was 2009, it was. They had dwindled from 100,000 attendees to 14,000, from 10,000 exhibitors, or 100,000 exhibitors to 16,000 to 14,000, from 1,000 exhibitors to 200, and from 10 days to 5. So I increased things. I was commuting between Orange County, California, and Chicago. And after 2 years, I increased things a little bit. I increased the attendance to almost 17,000 attendees, and I doubled the number of exhibitors. It didn't quite cost me my marriage, but it probably cost me close to $200,000 in retirement funds. And you know why? The challenge, the other lesson that I learned as an event organizer, it's all about the data. And what that means is, do not fall in love with your idea. Do not. That show though, and that experience, even though I made a lot more money in the very first online trading expo that I shared with you, that was the show that I enjoyed the most. It was for people who love to fish, I didn't fish, I didn't even own a fishing rod. For people who love to hike, I have bad knee, I don't hike, I didn't hike. For people who love to hunt. Do I look like a hunter? Honestly, I mean, come on. So I figured this would be a nice challenge, living in California. Not really hunting, never hunted, never fished, never hiked. I thought this would be a good challenge to see if I could turn the event around. Just by relying on a few of my core principles and lessons that I learned. And I was wrong. I couldn't do it. Why? Because I didn't accept the data as I should have early enough. I thought, well, gee, just a little bit more marketing money, with just one more trip in hopes of getting key sponsors, key exhibitors to expand. I offered a money back guarantee. As an event organizer, you need to be creative. You need to think out of the box. So in Chicago, although it didn't work, I actually offered a money back guarantee to every attendee. And I offered a money back guarantee to every exhibitor if they weren't happy with the results. And they were the ones that came up with their own criteria to determine if they were successful or not. My point is that as an event organizer, you know, another key principle or key characteristic, you need to think outside the box. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you need to be creative. So anyway, then I lastly, those experiences, especially after the bloodbath financially that I took in the consumer show, even though I enjoyed it more than anything, is I wanted to get some global experience organizing events internationally. And I didn't want my daughter to always think that the world would always revolve around the US. So I found a company, a US-based company that had an office in Hong Kong, and I got a job and we lived there for 5 years. And that was the best experience I could have given my daughter. And it was, I learned a lot. And it was just wonderful. So I've done a few different things. I've shared one great success. I've shared a very, very horrific at the time loss. But as an event organizer, you know, you can be entrepreneurial like I was. I always wanted to have my own company. Yes, I've worked for other companies when I was in Asia, but as an entrepreneur, to be an event organizer, you know, you're not you're not going to get funding. So if you believe in an idea, great, test it, rely on the data. Always rely on the data. Don't fall in love with your idea, no matter how sexy, no matter how vogue, no matter what people tell you about it. If they're willing to give you money, then we're talking, okay? But always be mindful. Don't fall in love with your idea. Test. Ask the market for feedback. Everybody loves to give advice and to give their opinion, and nobody gives it more efficiently, more immediately, and oftentimes more cruelly or brutally than the marketplace. But that's the data that you need. So if you're thinking about organizing an event on your own, just be mindful. Be mindful of how you can create the emotions of surprise, happiness, curiosity, fear of missing out, and a sense of community. Remember that the quality of questions equals the quality of event. Always ask why. Why did I offer a money-back guarantee to the attendees? Because I wanted the exhibitors who were pissed off at the preceding event organizers, they weren't doing enough to bring in the people. So I said to the exhibitors, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to guarantee everybody's experience. So I think the entrance fee was $25. So I was taking quite a bit of risk. I could have had hundreds, I could have had thousands of attendees saying I want my money back. But having lived in New York, having worked in New York before, I didn't think that people from Chicago would be that cruel. I think that, and this was a judgment call that I made. So out of 16,700 attendees, I think we had fewer than 5 people ask for their money back. So my point in bringing this up is not to praise myself, because the result was horrific financially, But you have to be prepared if you're an event organizer, whether you're on, working for yourself or working for somebody else, to think outside the box, to be creative and to challenge the norm. Very, very important. I've gone way over on the personal journey, but in speaking with John a little bit before class, my takeaway was to be real with everybody. And I shared I shared my life. The best part of being an event organizer of my 15+ years was the first 4 years. And I enjoyed success too quickly, because I thought, gee, this was easy. Every venture that I have the Midas touch. Every venture that I put together will be the successful. Not so. Why? Because I didn't rely on the data. And I fell in love with my idea. And instead of listening to the marketplace. So in speaking with John, as I mentioned, he thought my takeaway was to be real if you're thinking about being an event organizer on your own. So that's a little bit about my journey. I'm going to share real quickly a little bit about the industry, about Lumos. I have a paid work experience gig that you're all entitled to if you stay here for the balance of the class, or at least till John says that I got to stop talking. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Lumos. So Lumos is it's an event organization. It's based out of the UK. They've been expanding in the US. I'm head of their US expansion. The title is a lot loftier than my salary, but if you ever meet the folks from Lumos, don't tell them I said that. But it's fun working with them. They're very aggressive. They rely on the data. They've been doing this successfully and profitably in and around London for about 3 years. And they produce these candlelight concerts in unique settings, in churches, primarily. I mean, I don't know if you've approached a church, but the churches that I know, and I'm Jewish, so I haven't been in that many churches in my life. Over the last 5 weeks, I've been in more churches than I have in my entire life. And you know what? The people are awesome. Some of these churches are the most magnificent things that I've seen. And most importantly, they create with 2,000 LED lights. Very, very tranquil, very, very soothing, very calm. Just an amazing atmosphere between the LED lights, and we hire, and the company always has at least 3 performers. They're a violinist, a violist, and a cellist. So we have the string section in front of maybe 200 to 300 people in a church, and the acoustics are amazing. And that's what this company does. So they find unique settings, and then they lease the venues. And to lease a church these days is not very much compared to leasing an event space or a restaurant or an exhibition space. So they really, really fine-tune their business model, and they're bringing it to the US. I've seen people who's never really been involved or enjoyed classical music to leave a 1-hour sitting just kind of mesmerized. And I was one of those people, just to be completely moved. So I guess, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, maybe in the Q&A, but what this company does very, very proficiently, very ethically, very consistently, is they, in their candlelight concerts, they bring a blend of accessibility and authenticity that's helping redefine what live events are all about. So let me talk a little bit about the industry of candlelight concerts, or organizing concerts, live musical performances in unique settings. What audiences are craving these days? They're really craving intimacy and authenticity. Intimacy and authenticity, relatively small scale productions that, and in a live performance, you can't be more authentic than that. And typically the companies, we might have anywhere from 200 to 300 guests in a sanctuary, seated in front of the 3 musicians. When it's the sunset and you have 2,000 LED lights, it's just like magical. And you can hear a collective hush in the room. Almost like jaws dropping, because the themes of our concerts are either Mozart or Vivaldi or Coldplay, although we're gonna expand to other themes and genres very, very soon. But getting back to the industry, so what a trend is, definitely authenticity, intimacy, and small scale productions. Technology will always be important, but it's gonna be playing a more, I think, more quiet yet powerful role. Sure, we're gonna have synchronized light systems and immersive sound design and data points, but what this company does so well, based on their data and their research and their demographics of the cities, not just in the UK, but here in the US, is to bring the right type of music to the right audience. Know your audience. Know your audience first, know your demographics first. Don't come with a preconceived idea that a specific theme or marketing message will resonate. Because if you're marketing to the good folks in Kansas, they're gonna have different musical tastes than the hip people in Framingham. And I can say that because I live maybe a 2.5 minute drive from here. I'm not that hip, as you can tell. So it's bringing the right music to the right audience. They do that very well, and that's part of the industry trend. A challenge, though, is this company is all about scale, right? I mean, they started out maybe by doing one event every other weekend. Now they're doing, in the UK, they're doing 4 concerts a night on a Friday and 4 on a Saturday. So they're doing 8 in one area of the UK and 8 in the South. Right now in the US, my job, head of US expansion, is to ramp up by finding managers, and therein lies the business opportunity, the paid work experience that I'm going to share for all of you who stay till the end. But how do you scale and without sacrificing that intimacy, that authenticity? How can you scale without the guests thinking that this is just another one of their performances, one of 10 or 20, however many, well, 5 or 10, however many will be done? You can't forget that every guest going in is approaching it for the very first time. And it's the event organizer's job to create that magical experience that starts with, from the time that they approach, they walk up the steps in the church, and they meet some guy like me who loves meeting new people. I'm scanning their tickets, and I ask them whether they have a smile on their face or not. I ask them, whose brilliant idea was it to come to this concert tonight? And usually that elicits a smile, and we get to talk, and then I find out a little bit about them, that they heard about it, and they like classical music. Again, it's just showing that I care, which I genuinely do. I'm not impressing them with how much I know. I'm trying to impress them with how much I care, that they've taken the time and you spent a couple of dollars to come to the concert. So that's the challenge, to scale without losing the soul, yet still retaining that urge to create a personal experience that whereby people feel connected, where they feel present, and they feel part of something larger than themselves. And when you're seated in a church pew, listening to these amazing musicians, and you have 2,000 LED lights, I promise you, and you will be able to see for yourself, for those of you who take advantage of the paid work experience, you will see that sense of community that we're trying to create. Something larger than themselves. So that's a little bit about the industry, about what the audiences are craving, a little bit about the role of technology, a challenge that this company certainly is going to face, even more so here in the US, as well as the opportunities going forward. So speaking of which, the opportunities, I've kind of shared, and as I think you know a little bit about me, don't be afraid to be bold. Again, our job as event organizers is to experiment, it's to test the market. How far can we push the market in terms of the number of events, in terms of the quality, in terms of the types of music? That's our job as an event organizer. We're not going to be right all the time. And in fact, as my wife, always said, she used to say, Jimmy, you're always wrong. But all that it takes is to be very right one time. But what this company is doing, they're being right, they're getting it right every weekend. And that's the challenge for them to continue to do as they scale. So it's a great time to get into the industry, to be bold, and do sweat the details. You know, we've heard that expression, don't sweat the details. As an event organizer, if you're working for yourself or if you're working for somebody else, you must sweat the details because it's such a detailed oriented industry. And that goes for whether you're handling registration, whether you're greeting people, whether you're scanning tickets or managing backstage. Every event, every experience, you learn something. You learn something about people. You learn something about planning. And I promise you, if you only remember two things about me, now it's two. One is free money does exist. Very, very rare, very, very seldomly, but yes. And the other thing is to just realize that you can learn a lot about yourself. In anything and everything that you do as an event organizer, because you're in touch with people that are looking for the opportunity to be surprised, to be happy, to feel that sense of community. To be creative, to be, and then also you need to create and instill in the audience that this performance and the 5 performances, the 5 cities and the 10 performances that I've had the pleasure of working at is, you know, you need to instill in the staff that we're going to do this continuously. We're not going to sit on our laurels, and that we need to repeat this performance. We need to repeat this process time and time and time again. A repeatable pattern that is always catered to creating the best guest experience, oftentimes by asking the power of why. Why are we doing it this way? Why do we continue to do what we're doing this way? If we were to change just 10% of how we market, of how we greet people, just that 10% edge. What's that 10%? Always ask. If I can make just a 10% change, it can translate into amazing, immeasurable benefits just by being a little bit different. So I really hope I've instilled in you that even after so many years, I love the challenge. I love the opportunity to be part of live performances, and whether it's a live concert or any other type of organization that you might choose to join, or if you choose to create your own, you know, you just need to be empathetic. You need to be energetic. And if you do that, you'll create you'll build not just a career, but you'll create memorable moments that people will last a lifetime. So with that, let's everybody clap. And if you have any questions, and then John, please give me 5 minutes or maybe 2.5 minutes to explain the work experience opportunity. Do we have enough time for? We do. Okay. Tim, fire away. Give me a question or two. About anything. Not a test.
Like what made you get into the industry, and like what do you think of the Boston market out there for event planning? I was always,
Boston market.
yeah, for like event planning, because I always think it's like an interesting demographic in Boston for event planning.
You know, I'll give you the last part of the second part. You know, event planning in Boston differs than event planning in New York. You know, I lived in New York many years ago, and I'm not sure, are there any New Yorkers in the crowd here that I have to be wary of? New Yorkers are a little bit different. You know, their attention span is not what I think a normal person's attention span should be. So, you know, and also I think just how they interact with people, I think it's a defense mechanism that they appear to be so rude and so brash. I always thought when I moved from New York, that was just the way they could deal with millions of people. I don't know if that's true or not. Having given that context, Tim, I think event planning in Boston, because it's such a, the population of students. There are more students per capita in Boston than any other city in the country. There are more colleges in Boston than anywhere, any other city. Having said that, I think the venues understand that they're sitting in a sweet spot. So as an event planning, as an event organizer, I think it's incumbent on the event organizer to think collaboratively with the venue. In New York, you couldn't even have a conversation of, gee, can we get together? I want to run a few ideas by New Yorkers event, Jacob Javits Center or the Marriott Marquis. What are you kidding me? How many companies want to produce events? This is the way it is. In Boston, it's different. So I think the best way to approach event planning in Boston, regardless of the venue, is before you approach them, have in your mind how you or how the company to whom or of which you were part, how are you going to help them besides the payment? What new social media campaign can you collaboratively create that will benefit them long after you produce the event? So I think that would be my macro suggestion is, again, maybe to answer my own question of why should they give you the business to allow your company to use their lease or use their venue when they have so many other people knocking at their door. So come up with an idea. It might be social media, might be something else that will benefit them long after your event. What got me into it? So I was down to my last $5,000, $10,000, last $10,000. And this one guy who was in the audience the last time I did the $2 trick or asked if who believes in free money. At least he thought it was ingenious or clever enough so that we engaged in conversation. So he was a retired policeman, and I had a brokerage firm that wasn't doing very well, and I needed something, and I love to sell. My partner had some contacts in the day trading industry, and I figured how difficult can it be? Just put buyers and sellers together. I like to sell, so that's what I did. I did the selling. He did the speaker outreach and the admin. And oh yeah, one other thing, so sorry. To prepare for the X Factor. Murphy's Law is going to hit you as an event organizer frequently, if not every event. So listen to this. September of 1999. We were, I think it was in December. Our event was Valentine's Day. I think it was in 2000. So it was just before. And we had these day trading offices where people would go at the time to sit in front of a computer to be trained, and then they would trade stocks online. In one of the offices of an exhibitor who committed to our show, he had like 20 offices, there was a shooting and somebody got killed in the day trading office. Well, you think that caught national news? Yeah. So I sat down with my business partner and I asked, how can we spin this so that we get some publicity and that we most importantly can calm the marketplace, that this doesn't happen in every office, that this was a one-off. And sure enough, I asked our social media or our publicist at the time to contact CBS News and see if they might like to interview, not me, but my far more eloquent partner. And that's what happened. So we had Dan Rather on the feed with my business partner. I've shared so much, but I'm not going to share my business partner's name. But suffice to say that the interview went well. And that we assured all our other exhibitors and the attendees that this was a one-off, they need not fear for their safety. I bring this up because you have to be mindful of the X factor. Whatever you can imagine happening, have a plan for it. It's kind of like insurance money that you hope will always be wasted. But God forbid you need that insurance policy, God forbid something bad happens, at least you will have already gone through the mental exercise and the planning process to determine how you will react. So that's what led me, financial, not quite desperation, but pretty close to it. And I met this fellow, and I figured that I can sell, and if he can work on the speakers, why not? Any other questions? How about my $2 bill friends? Go ahead.
We used to look at the data.
Ah,
I
yeah, yeah.
wanna know what's probably the worst part of the vet claim. What's the hardest thing in a vet claim to do?
Well, if we're talking about, are we talking about a launch, or as in the case of Lumos, which is a very robust, very detail oriented, very successful company. So in answer to the question, what's the toughest part? Are we speaking about, from my vantage point as the head of US expansion, what do I see the biggest challenge, or give me a little bit more context for your question?
As the manager
Ah,
position.
okay. So, so what I'm responsible for is we're targeting New England cities and towns. And we have about 20 cities planned. We've done about 8. And I think the toughest thing, what they're asking me to do is to expand. So they want to expand, we want to expand further into the Northeast. So we have the 6 New England states covered. So now I'm evaluating the most targeted, the most receptive cities in New York State and in New Jersey. So how do I go about that? Well, what I have now that I didn't have then is ChatGPT. And with these programs and with the proper prompts, I can ask ChatGPT, give me, as we know, that two cities did extraordinarily well. Andover and Concord. So I feed some data points, demographics, median household income, the percentage of the population with college and or graduate degrees. I feed this information into the prompt and I ask ChatGPT to give me a list of 10 or 20 cities that align with the demographics of 2 cities that have done very well. But that's not the only thing. So then what I need to do, and I love it, is then I'll, with that data, then I'll ask ChatGPT, give me the list of 10 churches or 20 churches in a given geographical area that have at least 200 that can seat at least 200 people. And then once I get that data, then I have to evaluate, well, what's our theme? Will we identify, or what is the right music for the right audience? Because the right audience in Framingham, the right music for those of us in Framingham or Boston might not be the same that they're looking for in Westfield, New Jersey, or Scarsdale, New York. It depends. So that's, I think, it's not tough because I love the challenge, but I think that to answer your question, it's probably the toughest is to make sure that I get it right. And that means following up on my hunches, making calls, and just making sure that I'm on the right course. We have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions?
So you use ChatGPT for event managing, right?
Yep.
When event managing, do you ever ask ChatGPT if a certain city you're in has this different appeal to different decorations or different setups of events, or does Lumos always set up
That's a great
the
question.
same way?
That's great. For now, anyway, because, even though every church differs, the area where the stringers, where the string trio performs, is relatively compact. It's not very spacious. So, you know, from that perspective, I don't think that they're looking to change too much, but to fully answer, we are coming out with new products. We're gonna be having opera. We're gonna be performing operatic or opera in some of these facilities, and then there'll be some other types of products that will be coming out. So I think with these other products, we will then have need to think more seriously about changing the design.
So Lumos stays in the same location consistently and, or are they like roaming in different churches?
Yeah, so we've done 5 cities. So we started in Manchester, New Hampshire on October 3rd. October 4th, we were in Andover, Mass. And then the weekend after that, we were in Danbury, Connecticut. And then we were in Pittsfield, Mass. And then we've been in Westboro. And you know, these performances, the churches, at least the ones that we've been in, can only hold about a couple hundred people. You know, thankfully, we've sold tickets because the social media is great. And what I think the real genius of Lumos is, unlike, and there's another big competitor on camera, I won't said so much on camera, John, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to release this. But there's a much larger company that's been doing this for many years. And I say that because, oh yeah, they focus on cities. The New Yorks, the Bostons, the big cities. The brilliance of Lumos, besides the 2000 LED lights, the brilliance of the team is they're focusing on underserved markets, cities and towns in the suburbs, in rural areas, where you don't have to travel into Boston, pay for parking, you know, have dinner that's cost $100 each or something. You can just go locally, you can park for free. And these churches are churches that they know well, that are nearby. And it creates a more, you know, intimate, comfortable setting. So yeah, Lumos attracts or goes to the suburbs and rural areas. How about one more question before I give a little pitch or see who's interested in earning money every weekend? One more question?
With the day trading exhibition again, what's the process into going and rights to show like that? Make sure that it's yours and so.
Okay, yeah, great question. So, you know, you got to incorporate, or you need to file a business like you need to secure a business license, number one. Ideally, you want to find an event manager who's been doing this for many years to assist you, to guide you, to counsel you, to consult with you. Obviously, you need to have an idea what type of venue, your product, your experience. Where? Oh, no, good question. We were in the Marriott Marquis for 4 years. We were in Ontario Convention Center for 2. Then we were in the Anaheim Convention Center for 2. So they were our 2 main events, and you know, between the 2, I mean, they were about a $500,000 budget for each. So yes, we did stay in those 2 venues for most of the time, and the benefit of that is you establish a relationship with the hotel in the New York City Marriott Marquis. We had a huge room block. We were liable for, you know, up to 1,000 room nights over 5 days, I think, that we had to fill 90%. But we established a relationship with them. There was a little give and take. Oh, and another thing, X Factor. So listen to this. In 2000, we were getting ready for in 2001, we were getting ready for our 2002 Expo at the Marriott Marquis, which was, we always chose Valentine's Day in New York City. Why do we choose Valentine's Day? Because who wants to be away from their family on Valentine's Day? But as an event organizer, we got a cheaper rate. So look for holidays during the calendar year that you might be able to negotiate a lower rate than normal. And that's something that we did. So anyway, getting back to 2000, what I was saying is, we had the decision after 9/11. We're already had a contract on the books with the Marriott Marquis to return in February of 2002. So I looked at my partner. I mean, I remember this conversation so vividly, and I basically said, I didn't ask, I just said, what do you think the industry expects of us? You know, the industry expects us, like New Yorkers, like Americans, to push through, to persevere, and to honor the commitment and produce the event. And that's what we did, and it was a great, great show. So that speaks to the benefit of retaining relationships and returning to the same venue year after year that's very, very important. So I hope, at least from a starting basis, that gives you a little guidance. Okay, so Lumos, so what the opportunity is, and I can, John, can I, Sam, go ahead, please. Good, I think I have enough for everybody. So basically, we're looking for part-time event managers on a Friday and Saturday night. Friday and Saturday nights. You don't have to participate in on every Friday and every Saturday, but we're looking for folks to commit to at least 2 shifts per month. 2 shifts per month. And you need not have a car. How many people, by the way, the luxury, I don't think so. Anyone have a car here? Wow, most of you. Oh my gosh. That's even better. Because otherwise it's not required. You know, for those of you who are interested, you know, we'll set up some kind of carpool situation. But really what we're looking for folks that will grow with the company. And are most everyone here, if you have at least one more year here, at least one more year? Okay, good. So you can really, really grow with the company. I mean, the company's only been in the US for 1 month. This is it, just the month of October. And if you scan, you know, do the QR code, if you're interested after I share, and a little bit about the opportunity on the back there, then you can just check the QR code, scan, and you'll be part of our New England Managers WhatsApp group. So the pay, the compensation is $25 per hour. So we do 2 events, 2 sittings at least every Friday in a city, and then every Saturday in the city. We do at least 2 events, but you get paid. We're offering $25 an hour from the time you enter the church until the time you leave the church. And usually that's at least 8 hours, at least 8 hours, at least. Travel time, if you have a car, we'll actually reimburse 40 cents per mile, which is not bad. And then once you get there, you get paid $25 an hour for 8 hours. Now, what you'll be doing, you know, you'll be leading, you'll be managing temporary staff, at least 3 temps at each and every event. And what will you do? So we have guidelines how we like the stage to look, how we like to have the candles, the 2000 LED candles arranged. And we'll train you. It's not rocket science, but in a very short amount of time after the first or second event, you'll get to feel what to look for, how to arrange the candles in the way that will create the greatest impact. And then you will direct, you will manage the temporary staff to do as you tell them to do. And also, what's kind of fun is every church is different, and we sell tiered seating. So what that means is we have different ticket prices, but we don't have assigned seats. So you actually have to count, well, gee, if we have 150 guests who are quote gold, we need to make sure we have 150 seats basically in the same cluster. So you as the manager, you will figure that out. And then you will tell the temporary staff, okay, here's our game plan. The people who paid the most money, they get the best seats. They're the easiest to deal with because they're right up front. But then the gold, silver, and bronze, you'll know, because you'll be part of our WhatsApp, how many gold registrants, how many silver, how many bronze, and you'll just do the math. and you'll figure out where best to place these guests, and then you instruct the staff accordingly. Believe me, we will teach you these little tips, and there aren't that many. You'll liaison with the musicians, because they need a green room. They need to feel welcome, because we can have the greatest church and we've done all the great marketing and LED lights, but if the musicians aren't there, or if they're not happy, that's a problem, right? Because that's who the guests are paying to see, to hear, I should say. So you'll be making sure that there's a green room, that they know where the green room is, that you accompany them, do they need anything? So it's a little bit like being a concierge to the musicians. And the venue staff is really key, to make sure that they know that we will leave the venue, leave the church in the same pristine condition as when we arrived. So again, not difficult stuff, just basic people one-on-one skills. And if you need a little brushing up on that, that's what we will do. And then basically you ensure a smooth and enjoyable guest experience. And I haven't seen any situations that have required troubleshooting, but you know, that's the X factor. When it does, if and when it does appear, always just be calm, be cool, and use your head. Use logic in terms of, you know, ask the right question. What can we do, Mr. or Mrs. Attendee? What can we do to make it right? If they're unhappy, which is a little bit of a challenge, sometimes, you know, there'll be a party of 4, but because they arrived 2 minutes before the performance and you don't have 4 seats together, you will be required. We empower you to configure the seating. Maybe you'll need to ask a couple of guests that already said, excuse me, would you mind moving down just 2, since there are 2 seats, empty seats to the right of you? That way we can comfortably seat these 4, something like that. So it's kind of troubleshooting, it's interacting with the guests. And, you know, obviously, strong communication skills, being a good listener, but especially just being a people person, wanting to, you know, give your all in terms of making sure that the guests have an excellent experience. And that's about it. So the first 1 or 2 events that you go to, you know, we don't expect you to pick up everything, but we are looking for a commitment, ideally for Fridays and or Saturdays, at least 2 shifts per month. Thank you. And you get paid the following week. So and if you work with us on a Friday and a Saturday, that's $400. Then you will get paid via deal, the platform deal, the following week. It starts on a week from Saturday. We'll be at, and if you go to the website, which is curategroup.co.uk, that's curate, CURATE, group.co.uk. You'll see, and you click on Lumos Live, go to the Lumos Live website, and then you can just click on the US locations and you'll see all the locations. But suffice it to say, we have events starting next Saturday, all the way through December, every Friday and Saturday night. We're going to be in Hanover, New Hampshire. We're going to be at Dartmouth College on Saturday. On Friday night, I'm sorry, a week from this Friday, week from tomorrow, we'll be at Dartmouth College. Then the following day, we'll be in New Canaan, Connecticut. And then the following week, I think we're going to be, there's just so many, but we're throughout New England, throughout the North Shore. We're going to be in Concord. We're going to be in Swampscott. We're going to be in Newburyport. We're going to be in Kingston, New York. We're going to be in Brunswick, Maine. So there'll be places that you haven't been to, but everywhere you go, you'll know, and you'll be with, if not myself, another key person. But soon after maybe the second event, the second weekend, then most likely we'll ask you, we'll have a little heart to heart. Is this for you? Do you think, are you ready to manage a staff of 3? Are you more sure than unsure that whatever happens, you'll be able to handle it? that's who we're looking for. And based on what the professor told me, you know, I wouldn't have asked my UK managers to extend this offer if I didn't have the confidence that sophomore juniors at Framingham State, go Rams, 5-0 in the conference, no, 5-0 under 5-1 in the conference, not too bad, yep, 5-0. But we wouldn't be offering this if I hadn't gone to bat sight unseen for you, that you can handle it. Any questions about, yeah,
So I know you said
Yeah.
2 shifts a month, so like at the moment, my schedule was, I have a Friday class that would interrupt
interfere,
this.
yep,
So would I be able to do like 2 Saturdays a month? Or my
exactly,
shifts
yes,
be-
yes, exactly, yep, just 2 shifts, whether that's a Friday, whether those are 2 Fridays, or Friday and Saturday, or 2 Saturdays, it doesn't matter. Just we're looking for commitment of at least 2 shifts per month. Because very soon we're gonna be doing 4 cities in a weekend, 4 different cities. And we're gonna need 4 managers for each one, we're gonna need a manager for each one of those cities. And we don't have enough managers right now. Yes,
So if we pick 2 shifts, are we able to, in the next month, adjust when those shifts will be?
yeah,
So like,
yeah, very, very flexible, very, very flexible. You won't be locked in. You know, but just think about it, from an event organizer's, from a manager's perspective, we just want to know, to what degree can we count on you? And we realize you have lives and schedules, and if you really are looking to, if you're thinking about event organization, or more broadly speaking, if you want to dip your toe a little bit into hospitality, this is, in a way, getting your foot inside, because, you know, we are working with the public, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that they have a lovely experience. So broadly speaking, we are in the hospitality business, but more finely tuned, we're in the event business. So putting no one on the spot, but just preliminarily, how does this sound? I'm not taking names and I'm not writing names or anything, but how many of you are interested in at least 2 shifts per month? Awesome.
Is it all in Boston?
Oh, no. So we're gonna be, they're never in Boston. So they're gonna be in places like New Canaan, Connecticut, at Dartmouth College. We're gonna be at Williamstown in the Berkshires, later this month. Yeah, in November. We're gonna be in Kingston, New York. So there'll be maybe a couple hours, maybe 2.5 hours at the max of driving. But you're gonna be reimbursed 40 cents a mile. And if you choose not to drive, although drivers are preferred, we'll coordinate some type of carpool situation. But we have a lot of events in Massachusetts, but soon, very soon, there are gonna be more in New Hampshire, more in Maine, and then starting in April, a lot in New York State, around Westchester County, and in New Jersey. Yes,
So I might be able to do this now with my schedule, but would it be future opportunity?
of course, yep,
It sounds like
Yes.
it, but, say you do find everyone you're looking for this coming season. Are you still looking to teach other people like this?
yep. So how it works, so in that specific case, you know, let's just say, I don't know, where are we, maybe in January, you'll have flexibility to do this. You know, so maybe the weekend before you're ready to go, that's when you'll approach me, you'll contact me, and we'll say, okay, let's get you to a concert. And the trainings last maybe 4 hours. So we'll normally have an event at 6 o'clock, so we'll be in the church at 2 o'clock. That allows 4 hours. Make sure that the driver gets there on time, that we set up the candles, that we work with the temporary staff, that they have their hour off. So we basically we arrive 4 hours before the first performance. If we're having 2, that means the 6 o'clock sitting, 6 to 7, all our concerts are 1 hour. And then an 8, let's see, yeah, 6 to 7, and then 8 to 9. So we'll do the training the 4 hours before that first session.
And it's one manager push it,
Uh,
unless you're training.
one man, yes, once we have sufficiently trained you and the others that have just recently joined. For some people, it might take 2 concerts, for some people, it might take 3, but you're getting paid anyway. And we're hoping that, by the 3rd experience, you have the lay of the land, that you have the confidence, that you're more sure than unsure, that you can manage a team of at least 3 staff and are responsible to represent the Lumos Live brand in a professional, respectful way. So if you're not ready, you tell us, and chances are we'll observe that maybe one might need one more training, one more concert to get the feel of it.
Is the temporary staff typically 3?
3 people, usually 3, yeah. And the more managers we have, especially in training, we'll be deploying or asking those managers to perform the services of the hired staff, of the temporary staff, but it's not heavy manual labor, it's just placing the canvas in the designated spots. Yep,
You mentioned that the Lumos stays at different hotels, right, for different events?
the Lumos,
Yeah.
different churches. Right now, we're only doing the events in churches, but we're open, we want to produce the concerts in unique spaces like the Castle in Ipswich or the New England Aquarium. Or a zoo, when the weather comes in nicely. So again, this is where your creativity, your contacts will come to mind. So you'll be able to say, hey, Jim, let's consider this area. Let's consider this venue. I happen to know, and we're open. It might work, it might not, but these are the types of ideas, those kind of unique venues that we're looking to produce concerts in. Let me give you my phone number. So let me give you my email if you have any questions. But by the way, if you're interested, if you're remotely interested, scan the QR, right? And then join our WhatsApp. Okay? Right? So if you do that, you'll automatically, and then you put your phone number, and then you'll be part of our New England managers staff. And it will call you. You're already part of the team, and then we'll work out the details, which shifts, which cities you're willing and able to perform. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it what you expected? How was my speech? I haven't given it in, let's see, I don't know, probably 20 years. In terms of authenticity, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rank me? Come on, give me some feedback. Give me some 10. Stop it. More importantly, in terms of practical information, as it pertains to what event organizers are about. Do you feel like I gave you some real data, some real stories? They'll fall in love with your idea. And how I presented the information, give me some feedback. Was it okay? Not too overly dramatic? And you gotta remember, yes.
Oh, I have a question about your mantra of don't fall in love with your idea.
Yes.
So, hospitality industry, pretty tough. You gotta show commitment to your craft and business. When, like, I don't have the right word for it, but like, when would you say is like the threshold where you could tell yourself, like, I think I'm just starting to fall in love with it versus I gotta like put in the legwork.
No, I appreciate the question, and that makes me realize that I didn't fully explain the context around don't fall in love with your idea. That's from the perspective of sole entrepreneur, which my partner and I were. We were entrepreneurs. We were 2 entrepreneurs forming a company, and that's it. So that's what I mean. If you have your own idea, if you're thinking about launching your own brand. That's what I meant by don't fall in love with your idea. You know, test it with market, test it with people that you know are gonna disagree and find out why. That's what I meant. Hope that answers that.
So it's like solely with the entrepreneurial
Exactly.
experimentation.
As an entrepreneur, you don't want to fall in love with your idea. You want to rely on the data. But if
Gotcha.
you're working in hospitality and you're working for a great hotel, yes, you want to fall in love with the product because that's presumably why you're there. Any other feedback? Let me give you my email. It's initial J, no, actually, that's my personal one. The company email, my company email is, I'll write it on the board.